2005, June. You are 29 years old and you are sitting at a closing table in Memphis signing for a house off Getwell Road, $190,000, 5.9%, 30 years. Now come forward 21 years. In one version of your life, it is the spring of 2026 and you own that house. Not most of it, all of it. $1,342 a month stopped leaving your account last June and has not left since. There is a red maple in the front yard that is 40 feet tall and shades the whole street by 4 in the afternoon. In the other version, it is the same spring and you are 50 and you live in a much nicer house in Collierville and you owe $241,000 on it. Your loan is scheduled to end in the year 2050. You will be 74. The maple was cut down by a stranger in 2014 because the leaves were getting in his gutters. Same person, same closing table, same day. The thing that split them was $215 a month, and neither version of you thought it was a decision at the time. The fork. Artist handles the loan. Mid-50s, reading glasses on a beaded chain, a woman who has sat across from about 11,000 people, doing exactly what you are doing. She asks if you want to see the amortization schedule. You say sure, because you assume it's a formality. Your payment is $1,127 a month. Of the first one, $934 is interest. $193 goes to the actual loan. You read that line twice. Artist tells you, flatly, the way you'd give directions, that an extra $215 a month pays the thing off in 20 years instead of 30. That the extra skips the interest entirely and lands on the balance. She isn't selling anything. There is no product attached to what she just said. Then she stamps the folder and calls the next name. You make $46,000 a year as a project coordinator at a logistics company off Summer Avenue. $215 is a car payment you don't have. It is groceries for a week and a half. In one version of your life, you go home, run it on a legal pad, and start sending $1,342 instead of $1,127. Nobody notices. You don't tell anyone because there's nothing to tell. You didn't buy anything. You didn't start anything. You changed a number in a checkbook. In the other version, you look at the same schedule, feel the same thing, and mean to get to it. Then July has an air conditioner in it, and August has a car battery, and by October the intention has quietly dissolved without ever being declined. That's the fork. That's all of it. That fall, in both versions, you plant a $14 red maple in the front yard because the previous owner pulled out a mimosa and left a hole. It is 31 inches tall and looks like a stick. The tag says 40 feet and you don't believe it. For 2 years it does not visibly grow. In both versions you assume you wasted the $14. 2007, the roof. The houses on that street were all built in 1963 by the same company, which means they all need roofs in the same year. Bernard quotes you $11,400. 60s. Moves slowly on the ladder, does not chase the job. In one version of your life, you pay him in 2 chunks, 14 months apart, out of savings. It means you don't do other things for a year. The bathroom stays ugly. There's a cracked tile by the tub you look at every single morning and do nothing about. In the other version, you take a $14,000 line of credit against the house, do the roof, and do the bathroom while the crew is already there. Your payment goes up by about $110 a month. The bathroom is genuinely beautiful. The tile is a warm gray and there's a niche in the shower for the shampoo. Nothing about that second decision is stupid. This is the part that matters. The roof genuinely needed doing. The rate on the line of credit was lower than any other money available to you. The bathroom was 30 years past due. Every single step is defensible on its own. That's what a trap looks like from the inside. Not one bad choice. 8 reasonable ones in a row. Right now, roughly 4 in 10 American homeowners have no mortgage at all. That number was closer to a third back in 2010, and it has climbed almost every year since. Almost nobody in that group got there on a big income. They got there by not restarting. Nobody is hiding any of this. Bernard isn't hiding it. The bank isn't hiding it. There is simply no one in the entire transaction whose job includes saying the sentence, "You could just wait 14 months. Nobody makes money on that sentence, so nobody says it. Both versions of you have a new roof by Christmas. Only one of you owes for it. 2010. The gap you can't see yet. 5 years in, both versions look identical from the street. In one version, your balance is $158,000. In the other, it is $176,000, plus about $19,000 still owed on the line of credit, $18,000 apart, on a house. After 5 years, it does not feel like anything. The maple is 11 feet tall in both yards. You can see it from the kitchen window now without leaning, which you noticed one Sunday and mentioned to nobody. Corliss at work is buying in Bartlett that spring, 41, keeps a photo of her mother taped inside her cubicle, and she talks about it at lunch for a month. Bigger kitchen, garage you can park in, a school people have opinions about. She is not showing off. She is genuinely, uncomplicatedly happy, and the house is genuinely nicer than yours. You don't say anything, because there's nothing to say that wouldn't sound like an accusation. But in one version of your life, you go home that night and open a schedule again. And in the other version, you go home and open a real estate app. 2013. The sale. Here is where the two lives stop being the same shape. In one version of your life, the kitchen is the argument. Original laminate with a burn mark near the stove from before you lived there. Cabinets painted so many times the doors don't sit flush. The quote is $19,200. You don't do it. Not out of discipline, out of a piece of arithmetic you can't unsee. $19,200 put against the balance instead removes about $41,000 of future interest and takes roughly 2.5 years off the end. So, the kitchen doesn't cost $19,000. It costs about $60,000 and 2.5 years of your 50s. You keep the burn mark. For the first time, you understand that the ugly thing in your kitchen is not a failure to renovate. It is a payment going somewhere else. You run your thumb over it most mornings while the coffee goes, out of habit, the way you'd touch a scar. Your balance at the end of that year is $118,000. In the other version, you sell. Sobe lists it, late 40s, silver rings on both hands, good at her job, and her job includes the commission. The house goes for $211,000, which is $21,000 more than you paid 8 years earlier, and everyone tells you that's a win. Here is what actually leaves the table. Agents take roughly 5.5%. Title, closing, transfer fees, and prorated taxes take about 2 more. The inspector flags things, and the repairs cost $3,100. Add it up, and the cost of getting out is about 9% of the sale price. $19,000 gone to leave a building. Sellers in this country typically pay somewhere between 8 and 10% of the sale price to sell a house. That figure is on every closing statement in America. Almost nobody adds it up in advance, because it comes out of the proceeds instead of out of your pocket, so it never feels like a payment. You never write the check. It's just subtracted from a number you never held. After the mortgage and the line of credit clear, you walk away with about $15,800. 8 years of payments, $21,000 of appreciation, $15,800. You put it down on a house in Bartlett for $265,000 and sign a new 30-year loan at 4.4%. Your payment is about $1,248. The loan ends in 2043. You are 37 years old and you have just gone back to the beginning. The new owner of the Getwell Road house takes the maple out the following spring. It was 11 feet and dropping leaves into his gutters, and he does not know what it was for. He is not wrong. Nobody told him either. 2016. The thing with no notification. In one version of your life, something happens in March that nobody tells you about. For 11 years, most of every payment went to interest. 934, then 920, then 904. It moved so slowly it felt like it wasn't moving, and you watched it not move for over a decade. In March of 2016, more than half of your monthly payment goes to principal for the first time. There's no letter, no notification. The statement looks exactly like every other statement. You only know because you have been checking, quietly, on the same Sunday every month for 11 years. After that, it runs by itself. Every dollar off the balance is a dollar that stops making interest, which means more of next month lands on the balance, which means more the month after. It compounds toward you with no additional effort at all. You are 40. Your balance is $91,000. You think about the 11 years it took to get here and how not one of them felt like progress from inside it. In the other version of your life, you are 3 years into a 30-year loan. About $917 of your $1,248 payment is interest. You are, in the only way that matters, back where you were in 2006. Your house is much nicer. Your kitchen is beautiful. Your garage fits the car. The typical American homeowner today stays in a house about 12 years. Back in 2005, when both versions of you signed, the typical owner stayed 6.5. Memphis is one of the metros where that number has recently been moving the wrong way. You are not behind. You are not ahead. You are on a clock that resets, and the resetting is invisible because it always arrives disguised as an upgrade. 2018. The Cookout. Both versions of you get the same conversation at the same kind of cookout in May. Your son is starting high school. The zoned school is fine and everybody has an opinion about it, And the opinions come from people who love you and mean every word. In one version of your life, you look at a house out east. 294,000, 4 bedrooms, the garage, the school, everyone agrees about. Your wife stands in that kitchen a beat too long, and you both know what the beat means, and neither of you says it in front of the agent. You run it that night on the same legal pad. Your house sells for about 231,000. After the 9% it costs to leave, you clear 210. Your balance is 79,000, so 131,000 comes out. Put that down, and you're borrowing 163,000 at 4.6% for 30 years. You are 42. That loan ends when you are 72. You would be trading 8 years left for 30 years left, and paying about $20,800 in friction for the privilege. You already know what you're going to do before you finish the page. You finish it anyway, all the way down, because you want to be sure you're choosing it and not just flinching. You stay. Your son goes to the zoned school and does fine, and you will never know whether it mattered, and that not. Knowing sits in the back of your head for about 3 years and then quietly stops. In the other version, you move. Collierville, 340,000, and Sylvie handles this one too. Third house, third set of closing costs, third loan. Your son goes to the school everyone agreed about. He does fine. Nobody at that cookout has run a single number, not one of them. They are not wrong to have opinions, and they are not conspiring about anything. They are simply repeating what everyone around them did, which is what normal is, and normal has never once been priced. 2020. The offer. Rates go to 2.9%, and the phone rings in both versions of your life. Marva calls from the bank. 30s, cheerful, genuinely trying to help you, and the thing she is offering is real. In one version, your balance is $72,400. At 2.9 over 30 years, your payment falls from $1,342 to about $301 a month, $1,041 a month. Back in your pocket. Starting immediately. You sit with it for 4 days. Then you do the arithmetic, quietly, in the same chair. You have 5 years left. 60 more payments of $1,342 is about $80,500, of which roughly $8,100 is interest. That is the entire remaining cost of your house. The refinance costs about $36,100 in interest instead, because it is 30 years again, because you would be paying on this house until 2050 at 74. The lower payment is real. The extra $28,000 is real. Both are true, and only one of them appears on the statement. You tell Marva no. She is confused, and she is not wrong to be, because by every metric a bank measures, it is a good deal. You don't explain it well. You say you'd rather be finished. In the other version, you take it. Of course you take it. Your balance is $294,000. Your payment drops by more than $400 a month, and there is no argument against it that anyone at the cookout would understand. Homeowner tenure in this country peaked in 2020 at about 13.5 years, which is exactly the year everyone refinanced and stayed put at once. Millions of people restarted a 30-year clock that season and received a lower payment for it. The trade was invisible because it arrived as relief. Nobody lied to anyone. That's the part that should bother you. 2023. The boring part. In one version of your life, the last stretch is boring in a way nobody warns you about, and boring turns out to be the entire point. Your balance drops under $30,000 in February. Under $20,000 in November. Of your $1,342, about $1,300 now goes to the loan and roughly $40 is interest, which is the exact reverse of where you started. Your total interest for the whole year is under $600. In the first year, it was over $11,000. That's the entire story of a mortgage sitting in two numbers, 20 years apart, and nobody shows you the second one when you sign for the first. Your daughter is 19 and at the community college across town and lives at home because the house has always been there and nobody had to have a conversation about it. Your son is 16 and has never lived anywhere else. He can find the hallway switch in the dark. He knows which stair makes noise. You think about what that's worth and you can't put a number on it, so you stop trying. Dion works the garden section at the Home Depot on Mendenhall Road, 60-ish, forearms burned dark, and when you come in for mulch that April he asks what you're growing. You mention the maple. He asks how tall. You say maybe 38 feet. He says that's a good tree. Neither of you says anything else about it. That is the entire recognition you receive in 20 years, from a stranger, in a parking lot, about a plant. In the other version of your life, 2023 is also fine. Your kitchen is beautiful. Your payment goes out on the 1st. You think about the number 2050 roughly once a quarter, usually at night, and then you think about something else, because there is nothing to be done about it, and thinking about it does not help. Nothing in that version is a disaster. That's what makes it hard to see. Nobody in a beautiful kitchen in Collierville is in trouble. 2025. The June that isn't a moment. In one version of your life, the last payment goes out in June. 1342, the same as the 242 before it. It clears on a Thursday and nothing happens. No call, no letter for 11 days. When the letter comes, it is one page and mostly concerns the county recorder. Total interest over 20 years, about $136,000. On the original schedule, it would have been closer to $216. The difference is $79,600, which is the number artist said out loud in an office in 2005 while stamping a folder and reaching for the next file. You tell nobody. Your wife knows. Nobody else has any reason to. You go to work Monday and park where you always park, and somebody asks about your weekend and you say it was quiet, which is true, and which is the closest you come all year to saying it out loud. In the other version, June of 2025 is a month. Your payment goes out. 25 years remain. You have been paying on a house continuously since you were 29, and you will still be paying on one when you are 74, and across 4 loans and 3 sales you will have paid north of $300,000 in interest, and about $60,000 in friction to move 3 times. You have a beautiful kitchen. You have had a beautiful kitchen for 12 years. Nearly 40% of baby boomers have lived in their current home for at least 20 years. 64% of homeowners over 65 own outright. Those are the same numbers seen from opposite ends of one decision. The tree. Roscoe is the mover, 40s, back brace over a gray t-shirt, and in one version of your life he ends up in your driveway on a Saturday in 2026 waiting on a dolly while somebody down the street moves out. He looks across at your yard, asks how long you've been here. 20 years, you tell him. He looks at the maple for a second. 40 feet, maybe a little more, the whole crown over the roofline, shading the front of the house and half the street. He says you don't see many that size in a yard this age. Says people move before the trees get big. Then the dolly arrives and he goes back to work, and that's the entire conversation, and he has no idea what he just said. Nothing is fixed. The roof is 15 years old again and needs doing before you're 60. The kitchen still has the burn mark. Property taxes went up in March and the insurance went up more, and a paid-off house is not a free house, because there is no such thing. What changed is smaller than anyone expects and harder to explain. $1,342 a month stopped leaving. That's the whole prize for 20 years. In the other version of your life, you are standing in a beautiful kitchen in Collierville, doing arithmetic in your head about 2050, and there is nothing in the yard that anyone would stop to look at, because nothing has been standing there long enough. Somewhere tonight, someone is holding a stick in a plastic pot in a garden aisle, doing the math on 40 feet, deciding it isn't worth $14 because they won't be there to see it. They are probably right. Most people aren't there. Both versions of you signed the same paper on the same June morning at the same table. So the question isn't which house you'd rather live in. It's what you're paying for right now, every month, that has never once been added all the way up.